Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another G.I. Joe Mission Critical Midnight Storm expansion. So this one's a fun new box set because what we're going to do is we're going to get two brand new Joes, Mutt and Junkyard over here, as well as Jinx. And we're also going to get a new boss, which is Storm Shadow. And then we have two monsters. I call them monsters. Lieutenants. Sorry, I'm used to the Power Rangers game. Lieutenants and Slice and Dice. But not only that, we get one new type of foot soldier, which is the Crimson Ninja, or the Red Ninjas, I guess. Your Crimson is red. We get Red Ninjas, so it's kind of cool because we're going to get a third minion type. So of course what makes this very different than the, or not very different, makes it unique or different than the Power Rangers one is because the Power Rangers, foot soldiers are tied to specific locations, so they're harder just to add into boxes, where the G.I. Joes aren't. They can be in multiple, or they can have any mixture of them in different locations. So they can just go ahead and add like one brand new one in a box here and there. So that makes that really cool that we can add some different stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and hop in this. Now, heads up, this is a late video coming out from when it was released. My initial recordings didn't come out as intended, so I'm having to re-record these after I've sleeved all my cards. I will still try and show off the backs of the cards if I remember. But yeah, all my cards are sleeves. You will see different colored card sleeves on here. But of course, we're also going to get all our different characters. We're up 12 foot soldiers. I'm only going to show off one because they're all the same sculpt. And our boss cards, our lieutenant cards, and our vehicle cards. Integrating content is pretty self-explanatory. Just choose new heroes you want to play, choose a new foot soldier, choose new bosses, or whatever. Nothing's different. Mutt and Junkyard do have a special deck. So when we get into them, which will be very soon, we will talk about that. So first up, we're going to look at our Ninja Girl Jinx. Alright, bring that up here. Yeah, so here's Jinx there. See if I can get her to focus me if I put her in front of this white box. But yeah, definitely cool. So I believe she is blind as well, just like Snake Eyes. I'm not as up to my lore on G.I. Joe as I probably should be. I grew up with this kid. Some of these characters were in a few episodes here or there, or they were added later on. But I've kind of been a casual following of it. We'll get another ninja character, which is always cool. Eventually be able to make Team Ninja instead of just Team Army Soldier. So let's look at her card right away. Oop, I'll back that up a bit. Alright, so Jinx' real identity is, of course, top secret, like all ninjas should be, right? So she has intelligence. Once per battle, when any hero resolves a miss result during an attack, deal 1 damage to an enemy card of your choice. So cool. So it's going to kind of reward you for misses. So even though you miss, you still get to deal at least 1 hit. Only once per battle, but if you strategically use it, this could be very powerful. Alright, let's hop into her deck. And the Joe cards, of course, I always just have the back on there. So I have each different, much like I do with the Power Rangers, to keep it kind of in line because it's the same game system, is I have each character in a different color. Where the Power Rangers, and I'm going to try to constantly refer to the Power Rangers in a set, but in there I have them color-coded versus what color ranger they are. These ones, since all the characters are same color, I just give them kind of what felt themed right. So a ninja card gets black, which seemed like a good color for a ninja deck. Card wasn't all the way down in the sleeve. Alright, so she has 2 copies of Ninja Force, 0 cost maneuver. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it is an attack, you can immediately play that card, paying all energy costs, and add 1 die to that attack. Otherwise, perform an attack with 2 dice. Cool. So it's also nice it says May, so you can reveal it You don't have to play it. Maybe it's not right for the situation. Maybe you want to keep it there for defense. Maybe it's not, obviously not an attack. Maybe you can't afford it. Like, right, if it's a 3 cost and you only have 1 energy. Or maybe you have 3 energy, you just choose not to spend it. Either way. Otherwise, it's, so bare minimum, this is a card that doesn't attack with 2 dice, which is not terrible either. We have 2 copies of the Arashikage lineage, 0 cost reaction. Play this card when any hero rolls 2 or more missed results during an attack. Gain 1 energy and deal 1 hit to an enemy card of your choice. So much like her main card ability, she gains the ability to turn misses into hits. It's also nice because it works with any hero. Especially nice when you start getting these characters, hey, I can roll 4, 5, 6 dice. You have higher chances of getting misses, and I can turn them into instant hits, finishing guys off. Very cool. 2 copies of Eyes That Pierce. So is this that she has eyes that can, like, perceivably see through your defenses, or is it because she's throwing a shuriken into your face? 1 cost attack for 3 dice. If you roll 1 or more missed results during this attack, another hero may immediately play 1 card of the energy cost of 0. So again, she works very well with these misses. Getting some extra bonuses from those. This is another hero. That's the kicker there, remember, it has to be somebody else. And she has 2 copies of Sweeping Blade, 0 cost attack for 2 dice. If you roll any missed results during this attack, return this card to your hand instead of discarding it. Cool. Plus, with all these misses, again, if you can add extra dice, it's definitely more powerful. And at some point, they might make a character that can change dice to zeros, to misses, or something like that, or add dice that are misses. And that could very well work with her. I don't know if there is anyone right now. And then we have her signature attack, Absolute Alpha Strike, 3 cost attack for 5 dice. For each missed result rolled during this attack, deal 1 damage to an enemy card that has not suffered any damage. So early on, this could be very good. Either you're going to get a nice, good 5-strong attack, or you're going to be able to deal a bunch of 1 hits to anybody's. If you play this too late in the game, though, you might not get to have extra hits on guys, but it could also be used to go back and finish off characters you skipped earlier. And then they have the kind of team ability, although the Joes kind of aren't really teams. They do have some of the characters that share the same card grouping, and this is kind of the last time I'll sort of reference Power Rangers. As Power Rangers, like, each team had their own card, which all the main core Rangers did. In this set, because G.I. Joes, they don't really form little minor groups of teams. They do have characters here in each set of like 4 or 5 characters that share a same card. So with this one, knowing is half the battle. 1 cost reaction. Play this card when any hero performs an attack. Add 1 die to that attack. That hero may divide the damage from that attack amongst any number of targets. Cool. So this basically is going to let you add a die and then just divide all your damage out. So you can choose your targets and deal some extra damage out. And this could be very good when you get some of them high cost results. So very cool. Yeah, this might be like the weakest card in her deck because it doesn't necessarily really fit with her scheme overall. But it'll work well with the rest of the members of her team. Alright, that's cool. So that's Jinx. Let's jump in and look at Mutt and Junkyard. So Mutt is actually the human and Junkyard is the dog. Which makes sense. He's a junkyard dog. So let me get that to focus for you. I like the pose too, where he's kind of bent down. They do a lot more stuff in this game with characters wearing masks, probably just because otherwise they're all going to have very much the same generic faces. But what also makes me excited about this is there's a lot of other Joes that have animal pets. So, Dusty and I start with Dusty, and now I can't remember his name. I want to say Dusty and Sandstorm. I might be wrong, but we have like Spirit and Freedom. We have Shipwreck with Polly. We have Snake Eyes does have Timber, although lots of times Timber gets to act as his own character, so it's in like other games. So we'll see if that happens here as well. Law and Order. Yes, there's a couple of different characters there. Plus, it might be interesting to see if the villains do that as well, because we know we have like Croc Master usually has his Gator pal, and there's probably some others that do too. So it's kind of neat because they're gonna add, like they could have just made it a single card in the deck, like hey, this is like your signature card is that animal. But some of these guys, because they work exclusively with animals, like I could see Shipwreck and Polly being more like that, but it would kind of see how they do that. Alright, so he has a special deck. So instead of having 10 cards in his deck, he technically only has 9. So Stanley R. Pillow Murderer. He has Dog Handler. During setup, place the Junkyard card in your play area. At the start of each battle, you may ready Junkyard and flip his card to the side of your choice. So he gets a very specific ability. Unlike lots of other characters where they get stuff that could potentially be used with other Joes, he gets a specific card. So he gets a double-sided Junkyard card. So it has Attack. Exhaust this card during any hero's attack to convert a missed result to a hit. So now this is where he gets his abilities to help out other Joes here. So during the beginning of your turn, you can unexhaust him, so you ready him to be able to use again during your turn. This is basically a one-turn, once per battle effect. Yeah, converting a miss to a hit. Now we looked at, we just had Jinx there. Has a bunch of stuff where she gains bonuses if you have misses. But lots of times it only matters if she has one miss. So this could definitely help out if you have a second miss and get an extra hit. But what you can also do is flip him to his other side, which is Junkyard Guard. Exhaust the card when any hero reveals a card for defense, add 1 defense to that card. So that's kind of cool. So it depends on who you're fighting against, what you might need, what characters you have. You have a character that doesn't roll a lot of dice, maybe having that miss result might be really good. Because if they are rolling a bunch of 2s, for the most part, getting to have, not having one of them be a miss would be really helpful. Or guys that have maybe weaker defense, or just depending on who you're fighting against. And then you have a bunch of cards that work right with this Junkyard card. So he's got 2 copies of Sniffing Out Trouble. 0 cost maneuver. Move these guys over so we can see them a little bit better. Ready Junkyard. Another hero may immediately play an additional card. So that's cool. So now you get to use his ability more than once per battle. And another character. Plus the fact is because it's not playing a card to use Junkyard. It's just an additional effect, which is really awesome. 2 copies of Dogged Assistance. 0 cost reaction. Play this card when any hero suffers damage. If Junkyard is in attack mode, deal 1 damage to the enemy card of your choice. Otherwise, gain 1 energy. And this could be very helpful too. So at the beginning of your battle, look at what cards in your hand. I want to be in attack mode so I can gain this extra energy. Or maybe I want to be in defense because I'd like to gain that extra energy. So it kind of depends on what you want to do there. This is just a funny picture because they're parachuting, and the dog has a parachute is like attached to him. Oh, that's pretty cool. K9 action, 1 cost attack for 3. After this attack resolves, you may exhaust Junkyard to perform an additional attack with 2 dice. So a different way to utilize his card. So rather than doing his reaction-ish abilities, you can go ahead and use them as an additional attack. So it's 5 dice. It's definitely not bad. And then 2 copies of Secure the Perimeter. 0 cost attack for 2 dice. After you resolve this attack, ready Junkyard. Cool, so you have different ways to do that. Then his signature attack is Take Him Down Junkyard. 3 cost attack with 4 dice. If Junkyard is in attack mode, add 2 dice to this attack. If Junkyard is in defense mode, reduce the energy cost of this attack by 2. So yeah, so do you want a 6 cost attack, or do you want a 1 cost 4 attack? Very interesting on which way you want to do that. One thing I note about Mutt Junkyard is all his cards are based off of Junkyard, and none of them are really anything he's specifically doing. So although I do like that it's a cool way to be able to play with this extra character, it's almost more like we have Junkyard as a character, as the dog, and Mutt's just kind of there. I wish they had like at least like 1 or 2 of his cards that had something specifically that would have shown something that Mutt was doing. I get that he's commanding Junkyard. And that's supposed to be the point of it. He's supposed to be telling him what to do and this and that. And that's cool. I just wish I had like even like 1 card. Now you know that what he does is because he has a Junkyard card, that would be his 10th card in his deck. He doesn't have the team card, which is that knowing is half the battle one. So he does lose that as an ability. Alright, so before we head into the villains, the bad guys of Cobra, let's take a look at our 2 new vehicles. Let me zoom back out a little bit. Alright, so our first new vehicle is the Armadillo, which is a mini tank. It costs 5 to play, but it says for each red Cobra at this battle's location, gain 1 energy. It's very specific for that type of foot soldier, the red ones. But hey, you could gain 3, 4 energy, 5 energy very easily. And then the opposite one is we have Snowcat for 6, which is a half-track mobile unit. For each orange foot soldier at this battle location, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So kind of neat. So you get 1 for each. Now which ones you include in your deck of vehicles, or if you want to keep some out, might just depend on if you think you need more energy, if you want to do more damage. But again, this could usually be 4 or 5 damage to an enemy card at a location, which could be very helpful as well. Awesome. So up next, we are going to look at the lieutenants. So the lieutenants, here we got the back of their cards. These are your mid-level G.I. Joes, or not Joes, your Cobras. So not quite your named ones, but not quite like your main characters. So here's Dice. He's wielding an axe. It's got a very interesting motif. And he's going to team up with Slice. I'm just going to show Slice right away. Who's more like a ninja. There's some hooked, oh, I forgot because they're called. They're hooked blades. They have a specific name. I just can't remember it. But yeah, so you have Slice and Dice, which kind of work as a pair, which is very cool. So on the back of his card, there's his full picture. Now, I do wish that they had included, I said I wasn't going to reference Power Rangers, but I'm going to do it again, is Power Rangers added a new mechanic that lets you play dual villains that, like, work together, and you always run the same spot. And then if you defeat, like, when you draw their cards, you draw 2 for one and 2 for the other, instead of 4 for one. You defeat one, then you only draw the extra 2 cards for the other one until you defeat the other, and then you only gain, like, half points for each. But it makes more of an interesting threat. Now, I wish they would have added a card in here to do that. Even if it was just, even not like a specific card for Slice and Dice, but if you had more of a generic card that would let you pick 2 monsters, or I keep saying monsters, 2 lieutenants, and do the same thing there. Because there's a lot of Cobra guys that team up together. But that's always a rule you can employ yourself. Alright, so we have 3 copies of Vile Edge. Has 4 health and fast. Drain 1 energy. Roll 2 dice. For each hit rolled, deal 2 damage. So this could be bad because you could get up to 4. Sorry, it's for each hit. It's not each double hit symbol, so it's each hit. So you could get, again, up to 4 damage with 2 on each dice. Or you could get nothing. He could potentially miss you. So the beginning of their team-up card is, they do have, is 2 copies of Slice and Blank. So 4 health. Shuffle the slice enemy deck, draw 1 card, and immediately resolve its ability. Add +1 to any damage dealt by this card. So this is a neat way for them to team up, because so he just automatically play one of Slice's cards. So even if you're not using both, you have to keep the other deck around, just so you can pull this card out and pull out one of his cards and use them. We have 2 copies of Bonebreaker, 3 cost, or 3 health rather. Fast, drain 1 energy, roll 2 dice. For each hit roll, the hero must discard 1 card from their hand. So basically, the harder he hits you, the worse he's going to do. That's kind of his mechanic. And then we have the 1 copy of the Flying Dragon. 4 health and guard. Roll 2 dice for each hit rolled. Each hero must discard the top card of their deck. Yeah, so I get slicing dice, but he feels more like Smash. Like slicing Smash. Because yeah, the harder he hits you, the more damage he's going to do. And the worse effects you're going to take from it. Alright, let's hop into, we got Slice here, we'll set them back, we'll swap them around. Even though we really can't see them, so I have to keep them kind of back a bit. But there is his image, so he's a white, or a red-clad ninja, but he has like a white top. So he's probably the leader of these foot soldiers, which I didn't show. I skipped over them for the moment, but that's fine. We have 3 copies of Precision and Strength, 3 health with guard. Deal 2 damage. If this card causes a hero to discard a card, deal 3 damage. Interesting. So we're going to have some stuff that'll make you discard. 2 copies of his team up. So we have and dice. We have Slice and dice. 4 health, drain 1 energy, shuffle the dice enemy deck, draw 1 card, and immediately resolve its ability. Yeah, so what is interesting there is this one drains 1 energy, this one adds 1 damage to the card. Just kind of neat, so they have a little bit different effects. One thing I love that they do with the G.I. Joes is they give these guys vehicles. So we have 2 copies of Parasite Drive. 4 health, fast, and guard. Discard the highest cost vehicle card, deal 2 damage. Deal 2 damage. Nice. And then he has his final one. He has Scorpion Slash. 4 health with fast, deals 5 damage. So he's just going to straight up deal higher damage. Versus Dice, where Dice is going to have the rolling effect, which could deal potentially a lot more damage. It's a little bit more of a gamble. Cool. So those are those 2 guys. Let's take a look at our foot soldiers. We probably should have looked at those guys first. But we have our red ninja here. We're a little bit different shade than the other red minions we have, but they just have some size. Again, we get 12 of those. And the back of their card. I gotta pull these out of the sleeves, so there's a picture of them. You know, nice, brightly colored red ninjas that stand out in the shadows. That's kind of like probably a. I wonder if this is a nod to the like hand ninja from Marvel Comics, who are also red ninjas, or if these guys were designed first. That might be an interesting thing to look up. So 3 copies of Overwhelming Force. 2 health with fast, just deals 3 damage. Foot soldiers, of course, are always a little bit easier. We have 3 copies of Battle Axe Tornado Attack. I just love the goofy vehicles for the G.I. Joe characters, Cobra, whoever. And then seeing these guys in them, right? Like military jeeps, helicopters, tanks, all make sense. And you have this big, giant, open vehicle with lasers on the top and a giant battle axe. 2 health and fast and guard. Deal 2 damage to each hero. The lead hero must discard 1 card from their hand or drain 1 energy. 2 copies of Crimson Nightmare. 3 health. Deal 1 damage to each hero. Increases damage by 1 for each panic location. That's a fun effect. And then 2 copies of Strike from Anywhere. 3 health, passive. List cards in play, enemy abilities that target each hero also target all heroes that are not at this location. Yeah, so that could be a very bad one to deal with, because that could hit a lot of different characters. I just want to see if any of the A hero. Yeah, so something like this. Each hero must discard the top card of their deck. Will hit everybody everywhere else as well. I think that might be the only one we have, yeah, for the two lieutenants. But yeah, that could definitely be a very bad card to fight against. Alright, then the last thing we have in here is our boss. Because who, of course, is going to lead all these ninja characters? None other than Storm Shadow. It's very interesting that, like, they didn't have him in a set with Snake Eyes. I get, like, you obviously want Snake Eyes in the base game. He's one of the most recognizable G.I. Joe characters. And I get same thing with the villains. They had Cobra and Baroness and Destro. You know, it's just kind of odd though that they like wouldn't have just saved him for like a second box set, like one or the other, right? People would be like, oh, now I have to buy this set. But that's what it is, right? So of course there's the back of his card, and of course he's always had different looks throughout the entire years. So we'll probably get to see some different designs for him. We have 3 copies of Whirlwind Slice. 5 health and fast. Deal 3 damage to each hero. Increase this damage by 2 for each other Whirlwind Slice in play. So this is going to be very powerful. Plus with that, each hero, if he has him red ninjas out, also now it's hitting everybody. Which could be very bad. 2 copies of Blade Storm. 5 health, fast, guard, and passive. While this card is in play, deal 4 damage at the end of each hero's turn. Yeah, so just wait till then it's going to deal damage at the end of the turn. 2 copies of Honor in Battle. 4 health, fast, and passive. While this card is in play, each time a hero plays a maneuver or reaction, deal 2 damage to each hero. Again, the each hero thing, plus just 2 damage for reacting, that sucks. And then finally, we have the Arashikage Mindset. 6 health, guard, and passive. While this card is in play, damage dealt by Storm Shadow cannot be reduced or prevented. Yeah, so he's going to be kind of a decent threat to everybody, which bosses should be. I also love that we have the Arashikage, different cards for each different members of the team. Like, he has one, Storm Shadow has one, what's her name? Jinx has one. Kind of all a fun different thing. Alright, so that is what we have for the Midnight Storm expansion for G.I. Joe's Critical Hits. Yeah, you're looking for obviously new Joes, just some fun ones there, some new lieutenants and a boss. Plus as well, if you want another foot soldier to play, you maybe getting tired of the 2 other guys from the base game, this gives you another option. So definitely worth picking up. See you guys later. Bye.